Good day and God bless you, and welcome to the Bible reading in chronological order. I just want to thank you for taking the time to participate in this venture with us. We are very grateful for your participation, and we are very grateful to the Lord for each of you. I just also want to say a very special thank you to the team that has been busy with this. I know most of them would not like to be mentioned, but each one that has played a part, especially young Amber Base that has just taken so much time and effort in doing the edit and the reading, and it's just such a blessing to have everyone involved in this process, and I'm very grateful to each of you. We're still busy in the book of Numbers today, and we're particularly going to be focusing on chapters 18, 19, and 20. I'm going to rush through chapters 18 and 19 because I really want to focus in and hone in on chapter 20 a little bit today. So let's get straight into it. Chapter 18, we see that the Lord confirms the priesthood and charges Aaron and the Levites. The Levites are to have no inheritance among the children of Israel, as the Lord will be their inheritance. You'll see that going forward as well. The Levites lived amongst the other tribes. They didn't have their own land and things because they would serve in the temple of the Lord, in the tabernacle for now. And once the temple was erected, then you would see them serving in the temple for the people's sake in the synagogues and all of these things. So very important that we know that the Levites had no inheritance. The Lord was their inheritance. And then we see that the Lord then tells them of the offerings that they are to have and what they could eat of the offerings. Very important there. And you can just take note of what's happening in this chapter then. Then we get to chapter 19, and we see in chapter 19 that the Lord gives instruction to Moses and Aaron to bring a red heifer without spot or blemish, and one that was never yoked, so one that never plowed at all. This had to be a specific color, a red heifer, so it had to be a female cow, no spot, no blemish, and it was never yoked. And then it had to be slain before the priest out of the camp, and the blood needed to be sprinkled 7 times before the tabernacle with the finger of the priest. It then needed to be burned, and the ashes kept for the water of separation. Very interesting process. And then the Lord gives the stipulation for the purification purposes and the use of the water and the ashes in this regard. So very interesting, very, very nice. Just pay attention there as you go through this chapter. It is quite beautiful there as well. Just take note as well that a dead body is a reminder of the consequence of sin. And the red heifer is a type of Jesus Christ that purifies us from the curse of sin. So that's beautiful and just so wonderful in that chapter. Now we move on to chapter 20, and let's get stuck in. So the beginning and the ending of chapter 20 is really difficult in that you see the death of Miriam at the beginning of the chapter in Kadesh. But then the chapter ends with the death of Aaron at Mount Hor. So we see that there is death at the beginning and the end of the chapter. But then what happens in the chapter itself is even more destructive than the death of Moses' brother and sister here. So after we read about the death of Miriam, we see that the children of Israel begin to murmur again, and they're fighting with Moses and Aaron because there was no water for them and for their cattle. Then the Lord meets with Moses and Aaron at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the Lord gives instructions to them. Now the Lord instructs Moses to take the rod and to gather the people together and to speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water. Now please take note of the language and the words used here. It says the rock will give forth his water. His water is a very important term. We're going to look at it in the light of scripture later on in the New Testament. Now we remember a very similar scenario in the book of Exodus, where the Lord told Moses to go to the rock, gather the people together, and to strike the rock, and out of the rock would come water. Now the Lord tells Moses to gather the people together and to speak to the rock. Now Moses does as the Lord commands him, gathers the people together, but then he is just consumed with anger. His wrath is just kindled against the people because of their murmuring and their fighting. And instead of speaking to the rock as he was instructed, he smote the rock twice. Now the water flowed out abundantly for the people, but it was not the way the Lord instructed him to do this. Now I'm going to continue with this just before I get to the deeper significance of this. But the Lord then says to Moses and Aaron that because of the smiting of the rock twice and not talking to the rock, not taking God at his word, they will not lead the people into the promised land. This is such a harsh punishment for something that seems kind of strange, kind of insignificant if you're reading without the spiritual insight of the New Testament. But when we look at it in depth, we see that in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4, it tells us that the rock that followed them in the wilderness was Christ. This rock, Jesus Christ, was smitten once and gives life forever and will not be put to death again. Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary was smitten once, but he wasn't to die again for the sins of the people. That death was once for all, the Bible says. Then if you look through Hebrews chapter 6, verses 4 to 6 again, we see that this is in conjunction with this passage. It is so important that we go through that as well. And it says, "For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gift and were made partakers of the Holy Ghost and have tasted the good word of God and the powers of the world to come, if they shall fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucify to themselves the Son of God afresh and put him to an open shame." When we look at this, we think that it was such a harsh punishment, but the symbolism was so great. Remember, Moses represented the law, and the law struck the rock, which represents Christ. That law striking Christ was a symbol that Jesus Christ was taking on the sin of man and was paying the price for the disobedience of the law. But this happened once for all. It would not happen again. So when Moses struck the rock twice, the second time, we see that symbolism was of someone that would crucify to themselves Christ afresh. And we see here in the book of Hebrews that is not allowed. That is not going to happen. It must have been so difficult for Moses, having led the children of Israel all the while, right from Egypt and 40 years in the wilderness, but then he wouldn't take them into the promised land. But remember, the symbolism is so important and so critical here. Then we get further in the chapter, and then we see that Moses requests for the king of Edom that the children of Israel would pass through their land, but Edom refused them passage. The people then journeyed from Kadesh to Mount Hor. The Lord instructs Moses to strip Aaron of his garments and to put them on Eleazar his son, and Aaron died at Mount Hor. And this is how the chapter concludes. I know I've taken time today, but I pray that the Lord would bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he give you peace. God bless you.
Chapter 18. And the Lord said unto Aaron,
Thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. And thy brethren also, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. But thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. And they shall keep thy charge, and the charge of all the tabernacle. Only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. And they shall be joined unto thee, and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation for all the service of the tabernacle. And a stranger shall not come nigh unto you. And ye shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the children of Israel. And I, behold, I have taken your brethren the Levites from among the children of Israel. To you they are given as a gift for the Lord, to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Therefore thou and thy sons with thee shall keep your priest's office for everything of the altar, and within the veil, and ye shall serve. I have given your priest's office unto you as a service of gift, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death.
And the Lord spake unto Aaron,
Behold, I also have given thee the charge of mine heave offerings of all the hallowed things of the children of Israel. Unto thee have I given them by reason of the anointing, and to thy sons by an ordinance forever. This shall be thine of the most holy things, reserved from the fire. Every oblation of theirs, every meat offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every trespass offering of theirs, which they shall render unto me, shall be most holy for thee and for thy sons. In the most holy place shalt thou eat it. Every male shall eat it, it shall be holy unto thee. And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them unto thee, and to thy sons, and to thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. Every one that is clean in thy house shall eat of it. All the best of the oil, and all the best of the wine, and of the wheat, the first fruits of them which they shall offer unto the Lord, them have I given thee. And whatsoever is first ripe in the land, which they shall bring unto the Lord, shall be thine. Every one that is clean in thine house shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be thine. Everything that openeth the matrix in all flesh, which they bring unto the Lord, whether it be of men or beasts, shall be thine. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man shalt thou surely redeem, and the firstling of unclean beasts shalt thou redeem. And those that are to be redeemed, from a month old shalt thou redeem, according to thine estimation, for the money of 5 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstling of a cow, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shalt burn their fat for an offering made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the flesh of them shall be thine, as the waved breast, and as the right shoulder are thine. All the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer unto the Lord have I given thee, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord, unto thee and to thy seed with thee.
And the Lord spake unto Aaron,
Thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thine inheritance among the children of Israel. And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth in Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. But the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto the Lord, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, When ye take of the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then ye shall offer up an heave offering of it for the Lord, even a 10th part of the tithe. And this your heave offering shall be reckoned unto you, as though it were the corn of the threshing floor, and as the fullness of the winepress. Thus ye also shall offer an heave offering unto the Lord of all your tithes, which ye receive of the children of Israel. And ye shall give thereof the Lord's heave offering to Aaron the priest. Out of all your gifts ye shall offer every heave offering of the Lord, of the best part thereof, even the hallowed part thereof out of it. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, When ye have heaved the best thereof from it, then it shall be counted unto the Levites as the increase of the threshing floor, and as the increase of the winepress. And ye shall eat it in every place, ye and your households, for it is your reward for your service in the tabernacle of the congregation. Ye shall bear no sin by reason of it, when ye have heaved from it the best of it. Neither shall ye pollute the holy things of the children of Israel, lest ye die.
Chapter 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying,
This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp. And one shall slay her before his face. And Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. and one shall burn the heifer in his sight. Her skin, and her flesh, and her blood, with her dung, shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water. And afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the even. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the even. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place, and it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin. And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him, he shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. This is the law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent, shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which hath no covering bound upon it is unclean. And whosoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin, and running water shall be put thereto in a vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all the vessels, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify himself, and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at even. But the man that shall be unclean, and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean. And it shall be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes, and he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean, and the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until even.
Chapter 20. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the 1st month. And the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam died there, and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people chode with Moses, and spake, saying,
Would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord.
And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there?
And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us in unto this evil place?
It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink.
And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink.
And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them,
Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron,
Because ye believed me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given.
This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom.
Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields, or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left, until we have passed thy borders.
And Edom said unto him,
Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword.
And the children of Israel said unto him,
We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet.
And he said,
Thou shalt not go through.
And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came unto the Mount Hor. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying,
Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there.
And Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel.